From the heart of America, now.
And now, the Commander-in-Chief is back. Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups, the Oval Office of Gulf Coast Talk Radio.
All right, welcome back, Gulf Coast. Welcome back, America. Welcome back, world.
You know, Carl, we've spoken extensively on this show and in various other media venues about the increasingly obvious connection between gay men and their relationships with their fathers, right?
Yes, we have.
Be they an abusive relationship, and abuse can take many forms, right? Like failing to do the hard work of really getting to know the emotional needs and bents of each individual son, right?
Right.
I mean, just because you have a hammer doesn't mean you treat everything like a nail, right?
Right.
I recently interviewed author Kevin Swinton, who has a new book out on this topic. He was a gay man. He came out of the gay lifestyle by the grace of God, and he explains in the book. In fact, he did some of this explaining in the interview, which is on the ppsimmons YouTube channel, by the way, that his father was there, but just not in the emotional way that Kevin needed from him, right?
Right.
So it's important that these fathers really it's not enough just to be there as someone bringing in the paycheck and just, being a 2 feet and a heartbeat in the house. You have to get to know your kids, love them, right?
Right.
The Bible talks about this, and this is all very important. And anyway, Kevin Swinton gets into all that.
Well, listen, while you're saying that, I'm going to post that video. I just found it on PNN News and Ministry Network. I'm going to post that to freedomfriday.carlgallups. And says, gay man comes out of the closet as straight. Powerful testimony. Yeah. He comes out of the closet as straight. But anyway, so you can refer to that and just tell people that they can go see it. All right, keep going.
Right, and on your show here, we've covered, and on the YouTube channel and on the blog, etc., we've covered Rock Hudson, whose father abandoned the family during the Great Depression. We've covered Anderson Cooper, whose father died when he was 10 years old. We've covered Elton John, whose father hated him. We've covered Rupert Everett, Nathan Lane, and most recently George Michael, actually, who described his father in a GQ article as always being absent. And he actually admitted, you probably remember this, but he actually admitted during the interview with GQ that this is what made him gay, an absent father and exceptional closeness to the mother, right? So This brings us to today's big, see, I told you so, Carl.
All right. Well, before you go any further, let me just ask, do you know anything about Shepard Smith and that in relation to that and his family and father?
I've never... Has he come out of the closet, or is he still in the closet?
No, I think no. I think he has. It seems like I remember something being said big time about that right near the end of Obama's regime.
Yeah, there were reports that he went to Murdoch, and there was talks about this and so on.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything to verify any of this, so I haven't done it.
Well, maybe we
should do some preemptive research on that.
And the reason I'm saying is because, and we'll talk about this later, but he had a hissy fit over Donald Trump calling the media, and we'll talk about that later. But I want you to do some research on that because you're really good at this. But I do want to give a disclaimer, and you give this disclaimer all the time, and that is you're not saying, I'm not saying, we're not saying that all gay men come from families with abusive fathers or absent fathers. But what we're saying is the overwhelming evidence is that the vast majority of guys that are gay come from some kind of very dysfunctional family, usually involving a dysfunctional father to the max, right?
Well, it's interesting you say that because Brandon Gallups, your son, and a very talented interviewer himself, he had David Pickup on Freedom Friday when he was substituting for you, and David did say live on radio that 98% of these guys come from families where the father is either absent or abusive or not in touch with the needs of the son. I mean, the David Pickup, an expert in this area, did say this. And you know what, Carl? Every time I do the research, it all comes up. There's a very clear, distinct pattern here. It all began with my uncle, who died 20 years ago of AIDS, never even knew who his father was. His mother didn't even know who the father was.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is what prompted this research on my part, and I see a clear, undeniable pattern here. The list of names here, and of course I can't access information for everyone, people have a reasonable expectation of privacy out there. But when you are a celebrity, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy. All of your biographies and all of that is easily accessible. And so, I mean, it's easy to find this stuff out. If you're interested, just go look up these people's bios. It's all in there.
Right.
So anyway, do you want to get to the big "See, I told you so" now, or
yeah,
do you want to
yeah.
save that?
Why don't you start, wade into it, and then we'll save the bulk of it for the other side of the break, because we are coming up against a break. But why don't you go ahead and wade into it for a couple minutes?
Yes. Well, the one we're going to get into today is none other than Milo Yiannopoulos. Now, this guy, he's Greek, so I'm pronouncing his first name Milo. Could be Milo. I'm not really sure. I hear both pronunciations. But who is Milo Yiannopoulos? He's the senior editor for Breitbart, right?
Right.
And Breitbart is described as a far-right news and opinion website based in the United States. And Yiannopoulos, as a cultural libertarian and free speech fundamentalist, is a vocal critic of third-wave feminism, Islam, social justice, political correctness, and other movements and ideologies he deems authoritarian or belonging to what he calls the regressive left. The regressive left. I love that, right? I love that adjective about the left, the regressive left, right?
Right.
Yiannopoulos has been called a spokesperson for the alt-right. Now, you and I are in the alt-right category, right?
Yes,
we're the alternative media, the alt-right, and so on. But he denies this. And, that's another thing I like about Milo is he's very, very honest about everything. Very in-your-face honest. I think that's why people do have respect for him. Because he denies being a member of the alt-right, even if he recognizes that he may share some of our political views. I like this sentence here, he considers himself a reporter of and quote, occasional fellow traveler with the movement. He was permanently banned from Twitter in July 2016 for what the company cited as inciting or engaging in the targeted abuse or harassment of others. Well, when you're dealing with Islam and all these other social justice groups, they have such thin skin that it's not going to take much for them to hit the flag button on Twitter and get people kicked out, right?
Right.
Now, here comes the cognitive dissonance. This guy is a complete and total enigma to me. While Yiannopoulos is openly gay, and by the way, this is why we as conservatives should try and use a little restraint in considering him as a conservative. He's not a conservative. He is, I would say, borderline anarchist or even a anarcho-capitalist in so much as he's so against government. He would like to see government completely wiped out, and that is what anarcho-capitalism is, by the way. Yeah. It's the complete and total annihilation of government.
Yeah.
And he's openly gay. Now, can you imagine introducing him to Ronald Reagan and saying, "Oh, hi, hello, President Reagan. This is my lover, Chuck." Ronald Reagan may be kind to him, but Ronald Reagan would not consider him a conservative, right?
Right.
But now listen to this. This is where the enigmatic nature of this man comes in. While he is openly gay, he has stated that gay rights are detrimental to humanity. Hello? Isn't that the truth?
Stop. Detrimental to men. Let's take a time out. Let's come back after that. That's a good teaser right there, because I want to know what's coming next, Mike.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, so Milo says gay rights are detrimental to men. All right, let's find out what Milo says about that when we come back on the other side of the break, because Milo's spokesperson, Mike Shoesmith, is in the Oval Office today of Gulf Coast Talk Radio. Freedom Friday, Carl Gallups. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, Gulf Coast. Welcome back, America. So glad that you're with us today. And come on into the Oval Office. Mike Shoesmith. Listen, man, you left me hanging with bated breath, but go ahead. So the last thing you said was that Milo Yiannopoulos says that gay rights is bad for men. Now take it from there.
Well, it's even more severe than that. What he actually said was that gay rights are detrimental to humanity, which includes women, right?
Yeah.
And that gay men should, quote, get back in the closet, unquote. And he has described being gay as, quote, aberrant, unquote, and, quote, a lifestyle choice guaranteed to bring gay people pain and unhappiness.
Can we document that at Freedom Friday?
That is the Freedom Friday Facebook page right now. It's all on his Wikipedia page.
Wow. Okay.
And they as you know, Wikipedia does include their sources to the original material, right?
Yes.
So all of that is on his own Wikipedia page, which, I mean, he could edit this stuff, but I don't think he will, because I think he's proud of these statements.
Right.
He's proud of the truth.
Right.
And he admits that even though he is openly gay, this is a huge problem. He's describing himself when he says that it's aberrant and a lifestyle choice guaranteed to bring gay people pain and unhappiness.
Yeah.
Although some have accused Yiannopoulos of exaggerating his homosexuality for comic effect and falling back on homophobic tropes and so on.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the kicker here. This is why I led with our expose on, Elton John and George Michael and all these people. Yiannopoulos was raised in a small town in Kent in southern England. His father is Greek. His mother is British. His parents divorced when he was a young child, and he was raised by his mother and her second husband, with whom he did not have a good relationship. Yiannopoulos described his father as, quote, terrifying, unquote. And the more research I do, Carl, on these guys, where their information is publicly available, the word terrifying comes up more frequently than you can imagine.
Wow. So he's talking about his stepfather, which was his father.
Right. Well, he didn't have a good relationship with his stepfather, but he described his actual biological father as terrifying.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Remarking upon his family's wealth, he said, "I would think if my dad is just a doorman, why do we have such a nice house? Then I saw it on The Sopranos." So what he's saying was his dad was a gangster. This is why his dad was terrifying, right?
Right.
So as a teenager, Yiannopoulos lived with his grandmother, who regularly took him for high tea at Claridge's. So, he grew up surrounded by women. His father was terrifying. He didn't have a good relationship with. He had no positive male role models in his life. The same thing is true about Anderson Cooper. When his father died when he was 10, Cooper was raised by his mother and grandmother. Mm-hmm. It's the exact same dynamics. His mother is Gloria Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this whole thing, Carl, I mean, can we just call a spade here?
Yes, you
please?
can. On Freedom Friday, you can.
I mean, let's just go ahead and say that we've done the research, we've discovered the truth, and there is healing for this. There is healing for it. You have a Father in heaven who wants to adopt you as his own and heal you of all of these pains and hurts and get you out of this aberrant lifestyle that is causing you pain and unhappiness and quite possibly will cost you your very life. I mean, look who just died recently. Come on. The girl that played Miss Kitty on the TV show Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
I can't recall her name, but she didn't die recently, but I did some research on the actors in Gunsmoke. I was working on a project, and the actress that played Miss Kitty, she was married to a politician who was bisexual, and he was running around on her with men and gave her AIDS and killed her. He killed his wife.
Wow. And
she was a beautiful woman and a wonderful, talented actress, and she was murdered by her husband for his aberrant behavior, which caused him and his wife pain and unhappiness.
Yeah.
I mean, can we just finally admit that this is a problem? This is not a lifestyle to be embraced. Can we just do that? I mean,
yeah.
I'm feeling a little frustrated.
Yeah, I can tell you. Her name was Georgia. Her name was Georgia Ellis.
George Ellis, thank you. That's right.
Yeah.
And she died of AIDS because her husband gave it to her because he was living this aberrant lifestyle, as described by Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah, I was going to say, just for those that are just tuning in, tell the folks again what Milo says about homosexuality. And this guy, I mean, he's one of the most well-known homosexuals now, I suppose you could say, in the world. One of.
Right, and actually the most renowned is Dan Savage, and Dan Savage is the most outspoken public figure for the homosexual lifestyle on Earth today. And if you study that man's life and upbringing, that's another guy where the word terrifying comes into play with respect to his father.
Yeah.
I mean, the pattern is undeniable. It almost seems that it's never broken. There are cases, where men, they grow up and they grow tired of women, where, they've had so many women, and, they end up, experimenting with gay sex and so on. That's not what we're talking about. That's just that's just a pervert lifestyle. Is all that is. We're talking about men who claim to be openly gay and live the gay lifestyle,
Right.
and who claim that that's who they are. There's a real matter of plumbing. It's a simple matter of plumbing. It's design here. You are born a man. You're born a woman.
And
now examine the plumbing. Now, get in a room by yourself, get a full-length mirror, look at your plumbing.
And
You're
every
either
cell
a man or a woman.
and every cell in your body has DNA, and every cell in your body, the billions of them declare you are a male, regardless of what else you do. Hey, thank you so much, Mike Shoesmith. God bless you. Hey, folks, that is Mike Shoesmith. You can reach him